has been over 10 years since Angry Birds Epic has released, and wow, it has had a very eventful life and it has been a part of a lot of people's childhood, and it's just sad to see where it's ended up. But in today's video, we're going to talk about the lifespan it did have and the lifespan it could have if Rovio decided to actually properly take care of this deemed evergreen game. Okay, so let's take a trip down memory lane to revisit a game that combined the charm of Angry Birds with the strategic depth of an RPG game. Is it just me, or is it like hard to believe that this game has been over 10 years old, and the first times I ever played this game was when I was really young. Anyway, so if you didn't know what Angry Birds Epic was, it was a game that took the familiar characters from the Angry Birds slingshot game and threw them into a whole new genre of an RPG game, turn-based battles type game. And it was released back in March 2014. It was Rovio's attempt to branch out from the classic slingshot gameplay and switch it up and have a nice new taste and a fresh perspective on the game series, which it executed very well. Real question is, how does this slower paced RPG hold up in today's mobile game market? So in this branch of the Angry Birds universe, we were led by Red, Chuck, Bomb, and the rest of the flock on an epic quest to recover stolen eggs, but instead of flinging birds at angry pigs, or the angry birds at the regular pigs, I guess, you engage in a strategic turn-based combat system, which was very similar to a lot of other RPG games at the time. The game's mechanics are pretty straightforward, which is really good for its younger aged audience. So you assemble your team of birds, which each had their own unique abilities and its own classes, all different sorts. And you have to face against the notorious bad piggies. Yep, the ones that build their own mechanical machines, I guess. And you could customize your birds with different weapons, armor, and potions, which just gave the game a great depth of feel and had a evergreen game model where you could never get too bored of the game mechanics, and there always was something else you could do. But not only did Angry Birds Epic have this, it was also divided into several regions, each with its own team and challenges. From the lush forests to the icy mountains, the game's art style still holds up unbelievably well to this day. To this day! And actually being some of the best in the whole Angry Birds franchise still to this day. And it had great, charming animation as well. What really set Angry Birds Epic apart from the rest of the genre was it wasn't just senseless tapping on your screen hoping for the best. You had to think about your team's composition and the enemy weaknesses, and you had to use the best resources to beat your opponents. And let's not forget about the epic boss fights that there was and the challenging and very rewarding systems that they had in place. Each bird had a specific class like the paladin, the mage, or the knight, and each class had its own unique ability that added a lot of variety to the gameplay. And plus you could a crafting system that allows you to create your own weapons and potions, so you didn't have to win them in like a loot box to say like a lot of games nowadays do. So after 10 years, how does Angry Birds Epic actually truly hold up to this day? But being fully honest, it's actually quite a mixed bag. The core gameplay of the game is aged really well and it's still fun and really engaging, especially if you're into turn-based RPGs. The art style and the animation has aged phenomenally, and the game still has its quirky Angry Birds charm. But to be fair, there is a few things that feel a bit dated to this day, like the game's progression system can be seen as quite grindy, especially compared to some of the modern mobile RPGs, which I know it's all turned up a bit more over this TikTok, shortening the average retention span of most kids nowadays, which this game was aimed for. I believe it's called the TikTokification. It's something like that. Anyways, while the Angry Birds Epic was never a pay-to-win game nightmare that a lot of games are, especially a lot of the Plants vs Zombies games are nowadays, just some of the in-app purchases could feel a bit intrusive in today's context. Like it was just out of place and just didn't feel quite right. Like some of the snoutlings, it just felt like you had to, and there was no other way around it, which could be quite tedious. In the end, Angry Birds is an amazing game that is still worth to revisit, especially to fans of the franchise that's looking for a nostalgic RPG game that they look for and a part of a lot of people's childhoods. So if you can get access to the game, you should, and if not, there should be a video link top right on how you can install this on your iOS, Android, and also on your PC. Let me know all your thoughts and any hot takes you have down below, and I'll see you in the next one.